Oh, well, here we are, August sun, baking hot. I haven't done a video for ages, apologies for that, but I thought I'd just share with you what my plans are with the allotment. So come and let me show you around. My name's Richard and I am on a mission to grow as much food as I possibly can. On my allotment and modern victory garden we have plenty of land in which to achieve this. And this is my video diary. So Grandads greenhouse is still going strong, and it's become a bit of a dumping ground, if I'm honest. We had tomatoes growing in there. A few weeks ago I got COVID and they dried out on the 2 weeks that I was unable to get down onto the allotment. Trust me, there's so many things been going on. But because of this shed being vandalised, I haven't been able to, it's become a dumping ground. I haven't been able to tidy it up until today. I had a good tidy up. The tomatoes in there are holding on, but I think we're not going to get anything from them. So this is probably going to come to a bit of an end of use this year. Not to worry, because just in front of here, again, another area, I plan to build a couple more beds, but I'm inheriting my step-granddad's greenhouse, so that's going to go hit there instead. So this area here has also become a bit of a dumping ground while I figure everything out, but I think it's going to work out in a lot of to our advantage. So yeah, this is going to be good. 2 greenhouses. We're going to get a new shed to replace the one that's been vandalised, and hopefully that will just bring everything together quite nicely. Over in the far corner we've got some great stuff going on. Well, in this corner just here we had our cherries, our hazel trees, our apple trees, but over the years the cherry trees have dropped lots of seedlings and seeds, and we've got quite a few cherry tree plants here. So I'm waiting for these all to die back down in the dormant time, and then we're going to dig up these extra trees, put them into pots or something, try and keep them going and see if we can put them into some use. The best thing this year, we have got hundreds and hundreds of cherries in our freezer that we have harvested. So many, they have been delicious. Now over the back we've got our gooseberries, and again these gooseberries I inherited, and it's been very difficult to try and keep the weeds down around that area. Now I'm debating what to do on that. I might dig them up in the winter, clear out all the leaves and start again. I've got the same problem at the very top of the allotment as well, and I'm very much deciding what to do there to try and keep these areas a little bit tidy, a little bit weed free. I've always said this allotment is a very weedy plot, and when I was on furlough I was down here every day, and that's the only time I managed to try and keep on top of it. So having to rethink all these sort of things are tricky, but we can make it happen. Now the beds, they're the important thing. That's where the magic really happens. Let's go and have a chat over there. Well, on this half of the plot we've got these 6 beds that I built a few years ago out of this C16 timber, which has been fantastic, reclaimed. They last, they're strong. So I had planned to build 2 more over that side where the greenhouse is going, but because of the greenhouse that's not happening. We might be able to fit another one in, I'm not sure yet. But we're going to be following this over on the top half of a plot, which I'll talk to you in a minute about. What we found this year, we've actually been very productive. Our onions and garlic have all came out now, except for, well, they overwintered I should say, and they did really, really well. So we've been planting out some extra field beans, some peas, carrots. They've just gone in, so these beds are looking a bit empty at the moment. We're hoping that this half, the beans, where the beans have been growing and the field beans are growing, potatoes are going in there next year. So hopefully they're all going to work together to help grow better potatoes. And this half down here is going to be beans for next year, which is where the garlic and onions are grown. So we're going to be doing overwintered peas, overwintered beans in these. As I said, we've got carrots and peas have just been sown. We've still got the spring sown onions to come out. They've been appalling this year, and I put that down to the fact I didn't mulch them. The other onions and garlic we mulched with Strolch. That was fantastic. Then we got 2 thin beds. This is one of them. This was meant to be like a cold frame. Unfortunately, as a cold frame, it didn't work. I hardened a lot of my stuff off at home, so not really worth having a cold frame on the allotment for me. So what I've been doing, I've been filling it up with some of our waste material this year. We did have pumpkins growing in the skin. When I got COVID, they died. So I've continued to fill up these beds with some of our waste material, and hopefully next year we can put some compost on top and grow pumpkins in it or beans in them again, and they should do a bit better. The idea being this is going to rot down, create compost where I need it, and then we should end up quite well. So that is my plan so far for the bottom half of a plot. I want to take you up to the top half of the plot, which is quite a bit scruffy if I'm honest, not that this isn't. Now, something I'm kind of doing a bit more of is using recycled materials on the allotment, and I did build these 3 beds from this corrugated iron that I had from my old shed at home. Didn't want them to go to waste, and actually as these 3 beds, they've been pretty good. Difficult to get in there and weed, but I think once the soil builds up and we can get some really good compost in here, it should make it a little bit easier. But as you can see in this bed, we've got sweet corn, and it's a dwarf sweet corn, which is doing really well. We're actually even starting to get cobs show, so things are looking up. But I've been mulching with grass clippings, and I do that a lot now. I've discovered mulching. I highly recommend it. But what I've been thinking about is on the paths around this top half of the allotment, I've got the black weed suppressor membrane. Around the edges the weeds do still come through, and I'm thinking, well, I'd lift up that black membrane and let it go to grass, because then I can get more of these grass clippings to use as a mulch. And that's definitely something I'm going to be looking at, and I think will make my life easier. Now we've got 3 more beds that haven't got any edging, and I want to talk to you about those quickly. I've got my potatoes growing in them this year. Now, as I said, a bit scruffy. These potatoes, we had 3 beds of them. We had the first earlies in one. They've all came out, and I've planted up some cabbage and kale into those to get us through the winter. The second earlies are going to come out soon. They've pretty much dying back due to the lack of rainfall, and once they come out again, we'll be planting more brassicas in those. And then the very bottom, the main crops, which again, those have died out really early. I've seen the potatoes, they look pretty good, so I'm not overly worried. It's just a bit too early for my liking. And I mean, these 3 beds, they've produced well. We've got more than enough potatoes. Everything this year has produced well for us. This allotment is meant to be for my staples, things that can look after themselves, so potatoes, onions, garlic, the cabbages and things like that. So we've got the same area at home that we grow in, so it's not too bad here. But because it's been so dry, and I am on this hard clay, and you can see just how bad it is in some of these areas with this clay soil. It is pretty difficult to try and break down, but we're getting there. What I'm going to do with these 3 beds, however, same as I've done on the bottom half of the plot, build out of that C16 wood some frames around those, and that I think will just help when it comes to mowing and sorting out the areas to keep paths defined, but also when I add in a lot of this organic matter, it should help keep it where I want it. That's my theory anyway. Love to know your thoughts on it and what anybody else would think about doing on this allotment. A lot to think about, I know, and I know things are a mess because it's a lot of work, an allotment. This allotment is particularly weedy. The people that have had it in the past, several people in the past, have given up after a couple of years because they couldn't keep on top of the weeds. I've had it for quite the longest time according to the council now, and it is a struggle. I'll be honest, it is a struggle, but I love it, and I think we can make the most of it. Right, I'm going to pack up and head on home. I think It's time for a nice cold drink.